Hi crafty friends, Tiffany here with a scrapbook process video. And first of all, I just wanted to thank anyone who's still out there watching. I know I took an unexpected break there. I was on bed rest and then I ended up having a C-section. So my little boy Daniel was born on May 10th and hopefully you'll be seeing some pictures of him very soon. In the meantime, I have this process video for you, and this is the 5th layout using the April kits from the Hip Kit Club. You saw there I was showing you the papers that I'm going to be using. The cream and pink diagonal stripe is from My Mind's Eye's Mildred collection, and that came in the kit. The pale wood grain is actually from last year's Trendsetter line by Fancy Pants, and that's something that I just have in my supplies. I actually got a pack of 25 of them from Joann's, and I use it for backgrounds and kind of a neutral matte a lot. It's one of my favorite papers, so I thought that would work well with this page. I am going to take this pink and cream stripe. I only have one sheet of it, so I'm going to gut it. I'm going to cut the middle out. I start by using my craft knife, but I'm not very good with it, so I switch to scissors pretty quickly here. And that's going to allow me to use it as a narrow frame around the whole background, and then also use it as matting for my photo. And in the matting process, I'm going to use both sides of it. So that's really going to dictate the pink and gold color scheme of the whole layout. These photos that I'm scrapbooking today are of my niece Claire. When we went to visit them last year, she asked me to take some pictures of her doing model poses. So that was really fun. She likes to dress up a lot, and she has really strong opinions on what she wears, which is really different than my boys. So I had a lot of fun with her. And I thought it would be great photos for this pink and gold scheme that I know I wanted to do. These two photos are roughly 4x4. When I print with my selfie, I always end up with kind of borders on it and stuff, so they're not exact. And then I'm about to use this frame and trim this one up anyway. The frame is from Maggie Holmes Style Board frames, and we got a whole pack of them in the kit. I also apologize if the audio seems to jump a little bit. This file is using my new video camera, and it's so big that my computer's having a hard time keeping up, so I'm going to try to stop frequently so I don't get too far behind the video. I pulled out from my Freckled Fawn kit there the gold doily and a square flare badge, which doesn't make it on the final page, but then also this washi tape, this gold and pink striped washi tape, and I'm just going to use that as kind of the bottom layer in my layering cluster. In just a minute here, I may go ahead and speed this up so you don't have to watch me painstakingly put on every single piece. But I know that fairly quickly here I'm going to stop with the washi tape and do the matting of the pattern papers. So in the meantime, I'm just trying to line this washi up in a way that there's variety between where the pink and the gold sit. And this is where I decide that I really should just be doing washi on the top and bottom and not across the whole space, because I don't want to waste it. But I want to make sure that it shows enough with the mat that I'm planning to use. So I'm just going to use scissors to cut out a narrow mat with this again, the pink and cream stripe, and then I'm going to turn the paper over, and this is where I realized that I really should have cut it the other direction so I could have a more vertical line, but I'm going to make do with the piece as it is. And as I often do, I'm just kind of cutting it apart to give the illusion of a longer piece of paper than I actually have. I decided that I don't like that, so I'm going to trim this piece instead and use it as a horizontal piece, and I'm going to add that to the top and the bottom, and then I'll trim that also so that it kind of is hiding behind the mat. Once again, not the most thought out ahead of time process. You all are probably used to seeing that from me. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the edge of that heart paper, and then I decide to actually glue my photos down first so that I'm not losing track of where things are supposed to go. And I remembered to ink my edges. I always forget. So I'm actually using a Brilliance pad in gold to ink the edges of the papers. And I remembered this just in time so that I didn't have everything adhered down yet. I'm going to go ahead and stick down my photos so that their placement is where I want them to be and I'm not knocking them off onto the ground or anything. And then I'm using that glue at the top and bottom, my ATG at the top and bottom, just to be able to get the placement of these two strips correct. And again, that's going to make it look like I have a full-size piece behind the pink and cream, but really it's just two small strips. Just trim that to straighten it up a bit, and then I'm going to ink the edge of that as well again. And that is going to be the basic cluster that I keep through the whole process. Now I'm just going to go back to doing the washi tape, and like I said, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm just now using the space above and below the photo, so I'm not using quite as much washi to get that base layer on the page. I may have actually said this already, but this is my 4th layout with this kit, and it took me approximately 39 minutes to complete, which is extremely fast for me. The most time was spent actually doing this washi tape, as you are witnessing. It took a long time, but I knew that I really wanted to use it for this purpose. And in person, because I didn't always lay the washi down perfectly, there's a little bit of wrinkling and texture that happens too, so I think it's kind of cool, and it's a different look for me. So now I'm grabbing this Jelly Bean place card, and I decided pretty quickly that that's not going to work for me on this layout, but it does show up in a later layout very soon. I am going to play around with this doily quite a bit just to try to figure out exactly where I want it to be. I don't use doilies a lot, but I knew that I wanted to make the gold really prevalent on this layout, so I thought it was the perfect place to use one of these from the Freckled Fawn May kit? April kit. The April kit from Freckled Fawn. Most of these other little bits and bobs don't make it to the layout. I end up using a bunch of stickers from the Style Board by Maggie Holmes word sheet instead, but at this point I don't really know that that's my plan, so I'm trying to do the little trick where you cut embellishments in half and use them on both sides of the paper, and it's not doing what I want it to do. It's not looking how I want it to look, so I pull that butterfly back off pretty quickly and decide to kind of do the doilies on the corners here to encourage a diagonal line, and I'm going to mimic that with these word stickers. So I start pulling them off the sheet, and I'm going to end up actually using my little sock filled with baking powder to take the stickiness off of the back of them so that I can just pull a whole bunch of them and then arrange them on the page one by one. So at this point, once again, I move the doilies out of the way so that I can see what I'm doing, and I'm roughly trying to take a word that's in the larger font and then a word that's in the smaller font, kind of going every other one to arrange these words in a diagonal pattern. And there's going to be some more fiddling with the silly gold doilies. I'm sorry. I had just a really hard time using them for some reason. And then I realized that I don't have quite enough words. So I'm actually going to add, I think, a few more by the end once I start actually gluing everything down. This layout is fairly simple, really. There's not a lot of layers that happen, but it's a lot of little fiddly bits as I do all the washi and then all of these stickers. I think I used up about half a package of these stickers on this layout actually, and I love the way that it turned out in the end. That's one nice thing about kits, is that I don't want to add a lot to my stash. I don't want to put a lot back into my supplies in my room, so it's kind of fun to be able to use a decent amount of, a package of a product on one layout without really worrying about it. What I'm doing right now is actually inking the outside of the frame, the very back page, and I'm using Strawberry Slush by Stampin' Up. Sorry, Strawberry Slush by Stampin' Up. It's a pink ink, and I'm going to do that around both background papers rather than using the gold. And it's one of the very first times, really, that I've used colored ink. Probably not the first time, but I don't do that very often. Just to add a different bit of emphasis. I'm starting to feel like there's so much gold, I didn't really want to do gold edging again. And because I'd already adhered the wood grain to the pink, I used Tim Holtz ink applicator there to just be able to get under the edge. That's a trick I use sometimes if I've forgotten to ink the edges, which unfortunately happens quite a bit. So I think now I'm getting ready to actually glue down these little guys. Yeah, I'm going to use my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to adhere these. Pardon my head there in the way, sorry. And I'm just using a little, oh, it's not a piece of scrap paper. I was going to say I was using a little piece of scrap paper to pick up the extra glue there, but I actually just used another sticker. I don't have a lot of rhyme and reason. I'm looking for, like I said, roughly a diagonal, and the words sort of go together, but it's not making a perfect sentence or anything like that. The other thing is that I'm not making them perfectly straight. I want them to be a little bit off of each other, and in the end I find that the unevenness of the washi tape paired with the unevenness of the gold word stickers ends up being a little too much for my eye. I feel like the layout in the end is a little sloppy and a little cluttered for my personal taste, but by the time it's done, and it's all stuck down on the page, and there's not much I can do about it. So it's an experiment. Using this much gold and this many word stickers all at once is different for me. So I also was doing this page at 1 in the morning, I think, in between baby feedings, so there's a little bit of grace, I think, hopefully, for that. And I may just title this entire period of layouts the sleep-deprived on pain medication phase. So instead of using those bigger butterflies, I've decided to use some vellum bits, again from the Maggie Holmes vellum die cuts package. We got a whole pack in the kit. So I've got a little pink heart and then a butterfly with gold dots, and kind of mimicking the same idea up in the top left with a pink circle and another heart with gold. Now I'm going to work on my title, and I'm using the Mistable thickers from the Studio Calico Wanderlust collection. This was an easy choice because I love these stickers, and you'll see there my little package of H's that American Crafts was kind enough to send me. If you bought the kit from Kimberly, she actually sent them to you, but I had these already, so I just contacted American Crafts because the package was missing the letter H. I'm going to be putting it on some wax paper here, both to figure out the spacing and to give me some protection when I ink the letters up, which I'm about to do with that strawberry slush pink ink from Stampin' Up! And my Tim Holtz ink applicator. I really like using an ink pad to do this rather than a mist because it seems to be easier to get a really nice, vibrant, saturated color. And even after I wipe it off with a baby wipe to help the resist shine through, I still feel like I'm really getting a good amount of color. I'm going to try a couple different letter stickers here for the smaller part of my title, and I end up using these white tile letters with gold type, and I think that it's from the Dear Lizzie 5th and Frolic collection. I've had them in my supplies for a while, but I really like them, so I think I actually bought a couple of packs. And they're going to spell out the word little, and the bigger word there is fashionista, which I thought was pretty appropriate with her choosing her own outfit and doing her modeling poses. Just kind of lining that up along the bottom of the page, but again I have it a little bit off kilter. I didn't want it to be a perfect line, and once again I kind of wish I would have done that a bit more straight to help the whole layout be a little less messy. I realized that I got a little bit of pink ink on some of the word stickers, and I start by trying to wipe them off, but I decide that I actually kind of like the look, so instead I end up going back and adding some pink ink. It pretty much only sticks to the white letters and it comes right off of the gold, so I'm just going to do a bit of that on a few of these word stickers to help them pop. And please do excuse my messy hair in the frame. Like I said, it was 1:30 in the morning, so my hair is a disaster. In just a second, I'm going to be all done with this, and I'm going to show you some stills. I added some gold resin stars from the Freckled Fawn April kit, and then a journaling card as well in the bottom right-hand corner. And the journaling card is from the My Mind's Eye Charmed collection, and I just used a pink Sharpie to do the journaling on there. As always, you can find my stills on my Pinterest and on my photo bucket, which will be linked below. And here I'm going to show you just a little more of the detail of those gold stickers, and you can see the resin asterisk there and the little journaling I did in the corner. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching, and again for your patience. I hope to have another video uploaded for you in the next few days. Have a wonderful day.